She's on her way. Yeah.
Hello, this is Rudy.
Hi, Rudy. We can hear you okay.
Hi. Perfect.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council meeting. This is a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. The time is 5:30 p.m. On the line, we have Councilor Beyondich and Councilor Paulson, also Rudy Harvey from the Virginia Foundation, and Mr. Bhupesh Patney, one of our co-city attorneys. And in the audience today, representing the city, is our Park and Rec Director, Brian Silber, and our city attorney, Brian Lindsay. And we have some individuals that are in the audience today that will likely want to come on before the public forum and speak. And so we'll get to that under item number 6, or item number 4. So Pam, would you please take our roll call?
Present. I think I heard my name.
Breedley,
Present.
Paulson,
Present.
Beyondich,
Present.
Maranzelli,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Cuffey.
Present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. This is an opportunity for people from the general public, if they have a question, comment, or concerns, or wants to address the council in any way, this is the time you would come forward. And as you come forward, if you're here to address the council, just come to the podium. If you would, please push the button for the green light to come on, and then please announce your name, and then we'll start with your presentation or your question. So is there anybody in the audience today that would come up and speak before the council? Please come forward at this time. We'll take one at a time. You just come forward one at a time, please, if you would. And turn the light on there, if you would, please. Thank you. And welcome to the City Council. Your name is?
My name is Gerald Williams. I live on 310 10th Street South on the south side of Virginia, Minnesota.
Welcome to the council meeting, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, council members and Mr. Mayor. The reason I'm coming before the council today is over the past, I guess, 6 to 8 months, we've had issues with political things that we've had in this town being infiltrated by a group of juveniles and some adults, if they're called adults, coming in there, getting in our faces, calling us every derogatory name in the book. I mean, I'm not talking about 5 feet away, I'm talking about 5 inches away from my face. Flipping me off, calling me names, fabricating stories, and we're tired of it. We had an event on October 9th down at the Veterans Center. Initially, we went there to set up at, I believe it went from 3 to 6. We set up there. As we were setting up, we had an individual walk in or drive in with a boom bong going on his car, playing music, degrading the president, which is fine, that's his political expression, yelling obscenities to the top of his voice, and left the area soon thereafter. At that point, I called Mayor Cuffey, and I believe he will substantiate that call, that I believe they should send law enforcement down to the area because I believe things were going to get out of hand. 2 hours went by, relatively peaceful, and then the juveniles showed up on their bikes, coming down there, jumping in front of people's faces, cussing them out, F Trump, you were nothing but a bunch of C's and B's and you name it. They were yelling derogatory remarks. Anybody wearing a Donald Trump hat, these kids were in their face. They might have the right of political expression. They do not have the right to intimidate and threaten people's well-being. They encircled one of our candidates. I drew them away from her. They turned to me. They started kicking me, hitting me in the back of the head. One of them ran into the back of my leg with a bike. I turned around and ensued with an instep on my foot and hit the bike tire. That incurred that more of them would hit me. Now, who hit me, I don't know. If I turn around, there's 12 to 15 little kids around me. I restrained myself from knocking them on their asses. I'm telling you, you don't know how hard that was for me. But I am tired of this, and I am going to ask this council to consider a public forum in this town to have another town hall meeting on the problems in this town created by these juveniles. They come to my house, they threaten me there. I've got a tolerance level, and at one point in my life, I don't care. You come to my house, you step onto my property, and you start that with me, you're going to encounter trouble with me. I've been told by the police I cannot say that. There is no reason we should have to tolerate this shit in this town, I'm sorry. No reason. People are afraid to walk in this town. We've got a group of people, women run around this town on a Wednesday night. I asked the lady, what's this all about? We're here to take back our streets. I don't think we're doing a damn good job at it. We're not doing a damn good job at anything here. And I understand law enforcement's trying. And I'm not here to bash law enforcement. But if we can't apply the law to juveniles like we get applied to adults, something's wrong. The law was applied to be applied equally. The sentencing guidelines are what the difference between a juvenile and an adult. They'll lie. They'll tell stories about you. They claim that I hit them. An officer stopped me, took my name. He said, did you hit them kids? I said, are there any laying on the ground back there? Because there would have been. If I hit them, I would have hit every one of them. I'm willing to go to jail for that. To teach them a lesson that their parents supposedly should have taught them. But I will not. I will not be run out of this town. I will not be controlled by a bunch of juvenile delinquents that think they can run and instill fear in people in this town. And I think it's time this council, please address this issue. Bring it to the forefront in the public eye. And people at home, if you're watching, please call the city and ask them to have a town hall meeting again. We can do it at the minors. We can space ourselves 6 feet apart. The last time I was here, there were 400 people in these council chambers, damn near. And we were supposed to have more meetings. Got pushed by the wayside. It's got to stop. The Veterans Park, they have a sign down there, absolutely no bikes allowed on this premises. So why were the bikes there and why didn't law enforcement ask those kids to leave? People ask law enforcement, why are you allowing this? they have the right to politically express themselves. Yes, they do. But to call me and flip me off and call women and children, ask Mr. Cuffey what they called him. Uncalled for. So at this point, I'd like to ask the city to please, I know there's an investigation. I'm going to try to get as much information from the people that were there, that have any video footage. We've had enough. It has to be dealt with. They have, well, I'm not saying they don't have any rights. The only rights my father told me is I had the right to do what the hell he told me as a juvenile, or he'd knock me on my ass. Apparently, the parents have dropped the ball. Something's wrong. It's got to be corrected. I'm not going to get pushed out of this town. I grew up in Baltimore. I watched the racists push people in and out of the cities, and I am not racist. I have a lot of black friends. But I will not be intimidated by a 9 to 16-year-old child. Will not. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Anyone else like to come up and address the council? Please come forward now at this time. Thank you. Please come forward. The light is already on. Please state your name for the record, and welcome to the City Council meeting, sir.
Hi, my name is Jed Hollowa. I am from Chisholm, and I'm part of the organizers for these events in town, what Mr. Williams is talking
Welcome,
about.
Mr. Holloway.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. I have much respect for law enforcement and everything you do. I'm not a police officer, nor I have gone through the law enforcement program. I realize it is easy for all of us to armchair quarterback the situation, so my perspective on the situation is based purely on 20/20 hindsight that I am hoping can help prevent any future occurrences from going south so that both parties can leave an event without incident. So for example, this last Sunday, we greatly appreciated having police present at our event. However, looking back, I feel it would have benefited our group had the police officer pulled his squad vehicle near the group of the kids, making sure the dash camera was facing them and recording. Also having the officer come out of the vehicle to serve as a physical barrier, authoritative figure presence, maybe have prevented any situation from escalating. And should anything come about, the officer would have had a first-hand account and footage for reporting purposes. I personally feel that this, also sad, is necessary in these times and encourages both sides to remain civil and respectful of one another. It is my opinion pathetic that we need a babysitter, but sorry, can't remember writing here. with many present, it is what is best. Your authoritative presence would set boundaries and make a huge difference. And I understand in emergency services, there are situations where it's 6, 1, half a dozen the other. Regardless, we appreciate what you men and women do every day, especially in today's society. And thank you on behalf of all of us. And thanks again to the city for letting us participate in your meeting tonight, and also adding additional officers that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holloway. Is anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Please come forward. The light is on, and please state your name for the record, and welcome to the City Council meeting this evening.
Thank you for letting me come. My name is Caroline Matson. On Sunday, I was at the Trump event. These individuals that we are talking about kept hitting me in the back with a sign. They spit snot all over the back of my head, all over my jacket, all over my vest that I had on. I was told to go and have oral sex with President Trump. I was hit in the back with signs. I was standing next to another lady that they were threatening, and there was an older girl, 19, in back of her, and they were threatening to take her American flag and stomp on it on the ground. The girl, the 19-year-old, was going to hit me with a sign again. She had a video camera, her phone in her hand, and had her Trump sign ready, her F Trump sign, was going to hit me again. At that moment, because I am disabled, I'm waiting for a knee and a hip replacement, and I have a crippled hand. And at that point, I took out my pepper mace, and I was going to spray the older individual. And the little girl that got hit on the forehead with the pepper spray was jumped in front and was going to grab the lady that was next to me's flag. So she got pepper spray on her head. We offered to clean it off for her. We told her it was a mistake. She ran off. She wiped some of it down into her eye. At that point, she started screaming. The officers were way across the parking lot. I had waved my hand a couple of times for the officer to come and help us. It was getting out of hand. The other lady that's back there, she also waved for the police to come. They did not come until the younger boy hauled off and punched me in the side of the face. Then the cops show up. They called my job, and I lost my job. I'm a daycare teacher. I teach at a Christian daycare in Hibbing. They took it upon themselves to call my employer. They sent me out of work. For the last 3 years, I have had custody of my grandchildren, whose parents are meth addicts. And I have spent everything that I can make to keep my grandchildren with me. I am now facing a citation for 5th-degree assault, which is going to ruin all my teaching credentials, which could mean that my 12-year-old and my 8-year-old grandchildren have to go back where they've been molested, and they don't want to go back. My 12-year-old granddaughter said she'll commit suicide before she has to go back. I tried to talk to the officer. He just tells me that what I'm saying doesn't match their video. Well, of course it's not going to match their video because the girl knew what she was doing. I'm not tech savvy. I can barely get through my cell phone. But I need somebody to go to bat, and I need to see if these charges can be dropped because my whole life of 60 years is on the line because these kids and these individuals decided to abuse us because we were at a Trump rally. I would appreciate anything you can do because my life is over and so will the lives of my grandchildren if these charges go through. And I didn't do this to be mean. I didn't mean for the little girl to get involved. She jumped in front of it. Otherwise, the girl that was hitting me with the sign would have been the one that got pepper sprayed. It was an accident that the little girl got it. And I have never been in trouble in my life. I don't need to be at 60 years old. I need my job. It's the only thing I can do with my physical limitations. So I would appreciate anything that you can do to help me. Thank you for listening to me.
Could you just stay up just for one moment, Ms. Mattson, and for the benefit of the council and those who are listening at home, you did call me on the phone this morning and explain to me what transpired. I did pass on the information to our Assistant Chief of Police and had a conversation with him. He assured me this incident is under investigation. He and the investigative staff are seeking all information regarding what transpired, witness statements and those kind of things. And I did talk to Mr. Williams about it as well. So any information anybody has that they can bring forward, whether as a witness or any video footage or anything, we have encouraged you to take them up to the police department and speak with either Detective Kelly, I think, who is the main investigator on the case, or our Chief Nicholas. So I assure you that it's being investigated at this particular time. No charges are going to be levied against anyone until the investigation is complete. So we hope that any information that you can bring forward to help them make a decision on what transpires here in your particular case, Ms. Mattson.
Kelly was not very nice to me. And neither was the deputy chief that called me today.
Mm-hmm.
They told me that I needed to act like an adult. I needed to pull up my big girl panties and act because what I have coming at me is what I deserve. That's what I got out of them. I did get some people that are going to send in statements. I got a lady that sent in some more video, but they told me that they are going through with the charges on me. And I think that this is a crying shame. Because I'm 60 years old. It was the first time I've gone to a Trump rally over here. I came to Virginia from Hibbing because I wanted to see what it was like. And these kids provoked everything. And none of them are being charged for hitting me with the sign. None of them are being charged for spitting on me. And nobody got in trouble for calling my job and making me lose my job because they're all bragging about it on Facebook. I have 2 children that I'm raising. My husband is disabled. The what little bit of extra that I bring in about $600 every couple weeks to help support my grandchildren because I don't get anything from the county because I'm their grandmother. But now I don't have that. Christmas is coming. The kids need winter stuff. I have no job to buy anything for them.
Well, I assure you, Ms. Mattson, and I empathize with you, and I'm sorry this has happened to you. And I'm sorry you're experiencing this, through this process. And I know that you have supporters that, may be some witnesses that could help articulate the entire story. I do know that it is being investigated. Juvenile investigations are a lot different than adult investigations. There's certain protocols that you need to follow. I assure you, your interaction with the officers initially and secondarily, I assure you that that incidents continue to be investigated. They'll investigate to the fullest extent of the law, and any information, any support documentation, any witnesses, or anything that you have, or the people who attended that rally have, should be turned over to the police department so they could take into account the totality of the circumstances and make a measured decision based upon all the facts and all the evidence. So I hope that there's some more information coming forward, my understanding that there is. Thank you, Ms. Mattson. Anyone else like to come and address the council? Please come forward. Thank you. The light is on. Welcome to the Virginia City Council meeting. Please state your name for the record and welcome.
Thank you. My name is Kim Sari. I'm a little nervous and I may talk fast because I have a tendency to do that.
You don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
I had the same experience with Officer Kelly. I don't feel he treated me properly either. It was more of a reprimand, kind of condescending, told me that I needed to be the adult, that the kids had a right to say what they said. And I was one that was also shouting back at them. I'm probably the cause of what happened. But I had my right to say what I had to say. And I do have videos. And I do have pictures. And for the last 2 days, I've gotten no sleep because this whole group of kids has not only spewed lies about the events that happened, they've slandered me, they doxed me, they tried to get my Facebook password changed so they could get information. They told me I was part of the KKK. They told me I'm part of a child sex trafficking. They've pretty much slandered me. This video that they posted, which was her little clip of the event, made me look bad because I stood there and I pointed at her. I didn't step over the line. The girl that got maced stepped over the line, and by a line I mean the white parking line, in the parking lot. She stepped over and got in my face, and I said, "Why are you coming so close to me when you're worried about COVID?" Because that was their whole beef with me, that I wasn't wearing a mask. That wasn't their whole beef with me. I had a beautiful Trump flag on. I was there in support of Trump. I don't care what their thing was. My introduction to them was, I will listen to you, but your signs are terrible, and you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. And I also told them that they were acting like teenage brats or punks, or I don't even know what my words were. I wasn't even swearing at this point. And that's when they started screaming at me and giving me all these little facts that they've collected along the line. And I don't even have to go through there because that's all in the video that will be turned into Officer Kelly. They did not ask me for my statement. I'm the one that gave the girl the Kleenex because the mace pepper spray had not even gotten in her eyes yet. They said they wanted nothing from me. And so I put it back in my pocket. A minute later, the boy asked me for it and I gave it to him. I went and got the bottle of water. They've since turned this whole thing on me and on her and what a horrible person she is. I've never met her before this. They think we're friends. They've damaged my name. I intend on suing all of them, or I intend on furthering legal, I don't say suing, pursuing this. They've threatened me. They've found misinformation and they feel I'm a nurse and they're gonna try to take my job away from me. They're misinformed. I don't think that when the police officer that was in the car who would not come up when he was being called by people, and I didn't see this because I was face to face with the girl, one positioned themselves on the side of me. I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even see her come up on the side with the mace. She was doing it to protect me. So that's why I'm taking the responsibility, because if I wouldn't have not been there bantering with them, when they threatened to stomp on the flag that I had, I said the Trump flag, or the American flag. They said the American flag. I said, if you don't like your country, why don't you leave? And they said, well, it's not that easy. No, they've had that Facebook video that they put on went viral. When it first started, there was over 8,000 views. I've gotten hate messages from Native American groups, from gay, lesbian groups, and I had no idea I don't care what their interests are. It has nothing to do with me. Like, I would have known that. I had no clue. They had masks on, clothes on, and how could I tell that anybody was a lesbian or not? I could care less what they are. The whole thing went down bad. I wish I would have never gone there. I didn't attend Pence's rally the next day because I knew somebody was going to recognize me from all the things that were on there, and I probably would have been in trouble. I'm not an experienced person with these, to not let these people egg you on and get to you. So it happened. I can't take it back. I apologize to them. On Facebook, I say I take responsibility. Do you also? No, they won't take any responsibility. I'm not going to let them threaten me anymore or bully me. I'm going to be 60 in February too. I'm probably in a little better shape physically than her is. I've let people walk all over me a lot of my life, and I will not let this go. I appreciate you all listening to me, and
Thank you, Ms. Sari. I do encourage, and as you had indicated earlier in your presentation, that you have some video footage, and then you can submit a written statement if you like about things
why
that
did they not
transpired.
ask me when I was the main one that was involved in this? Why did not Officer Kelly, who was there, ask for my statement? He didn't even ask me. He had my number. They wrote down my information. Nobody contacted me to see what my information was. He told me that by what he saw in the video footage, I was the aggressor. And the police officer that was in the car said, I didn't see anything else other than you being the aggressor. I don't know why he didn't have a camera on.
Well, it's my understanding you have some witnesses that maybe the officers don't know about, but it's important for you to bring all those things forward. You have the video footage. Anybody can give a written statement and submit it to the police
Yes, they
department.
did give me
Even
that.
though maybe you didn't ask for it, you certainly can do that.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you, if you have any specific information that would be pertinent to that case and help with any investigation so they can come to an informed decision, we urge you to make sure you get that over to the police department as soon as you can.
We'll walk over there after I'm done here and get it to them.
Thank you, Ms. Sari, very much.
Thank you for listening to me.
You're welcome. Anyone else in the audience that would come and like and speak? The light is on. Please come forward. Please state your name for the record, and thank you and welcome to the City Council meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here, and my name is Lisa Westby. My comments are more across the board with the juvenile crime here, not specifically for the rally, and I think that it has been escalating for years, because I've been to a city council before here where we've talked about the crime and problems and drug problems, people finding heroin, they can't let their kids out in the yard because of heroin, needles and stuff like that. I think what transpired with the rally just emboldens bad behavior by juveniles even more. And to my thoughts on it, in listening to those two ladies, how they were reprimanded, but the kids have gone away scot-free. And I think that is the premise of our trouble, is that this is continually happening in all these cities. We looked at St. Paul, burnt down to the ground. They get a pass because they were expressing themselves. And this lady was protecting herself, and she's lost her job. Now, I know life is not fair, but law enforcement and judges and lawyers, they should be looking at things with blind eyes And I'm not sure that that's happening anymore, and that's very concerning to me. But as a community, what is very troubling is what's happening to our town, Virginia. I've lived here many years. This was a cute little town that you could leave your purse, forget your purse in Herberger's, and then go back and it'd still be in the same spot. I'm not sure we're there anymore. And I respect law enforcement. Thank you for your service. I respect law enforcement. They've got a tough job. We back the blue. We want the blue to back us. We want them to be there, and we want them to be out in force and not in a corner, and only out in force for certain situations. And that's what we are seeing. If you're an easy pick, if you're an easy ticket or whatever, then, you know, they'll pull you over. And if not, if it's going to be a political thing or a racial thing, they've hidden the corner a little bit. And I don't blame them for that, because it's a hot topic. We all know it. It's the truth. And we need to back them up. We need to back law enforcement up to be able to have law and order in this town. And I feel bad for those kids. They have no direction whatsoever. They're angry, and they don't even know what they're angry about. And they're taking their anger out on strangers. It is sad, is what it is. And we're not helping them by letting them do that. When my kids were little, if they threw temper tantrums, they were in trouble, because that's not how you get through life. So my thought is, my appeal to you all and the chief of police is to support your law enforcement here, that they can do the job and they can do it right. And also, I realize it doesn't stop with you guys. It's all of us in the community too, to be supportive. So that's my thought for our city of Virginia. It's a lovely little town, and we want to live a balanced life here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else that'd like to come and speak for the council? The light is on. Please come forward. Please state your name for the record, and welcome to the city council meeting this evening.
My name is Sherry Fisher, and I was at the rally on October 9th. And after the rally, I was on Monday, I do believe, I called the chief of police and I called the mayor. And I talked to the chief of police, and she actually told me that they have names, ages, they have videos of these kids destroying signs, political signs, which last time I was told, those are felonies. So she said they don't want to do anything to these kids because of COVID. So you're going to let people commit felonies, run around in the streets, and if these kids are getting away with doing this, what's the next felony that they're going to try to do and get away with? It's the parents that are sending these kids out because they're too chicken, because they know that the cops are not going to do nothing to these kids. And the last time I knew, it's not the cops' responsibility to pick and choose which felonies get charges put on them and which ones get slid underneath the carpet. They took an oath to abide the law, enforce the laws. They need to start doing it. These kids were in elderly people's faces. They were in people in wheelchairs' faces. If that would have been my kid, they wouldn't have been sitting down for weeks. And you know, it's like, and the mayor told me, but our kids wouldn't do that, Sherry. No, our kids wouldn't do it. But something needs to be done to these kids that are doing it. And it's about time. The taxpayers are paying them to enforce the laws. They need to start doing it.
Thank you. And just for clarification purposes, discuss this with Chief regarding this incident and the prior instances and other instances with respect to that. Many of these juveniles, and I'm not going to say that it's these particular ones, but I know that the courts and the county attorney's office take into account low-level felonies, and they determine whether or not they're going to prosecute. But our police department does fill out the forms. They do submit a report. It's called a long form, and they submit that to the county attorney's office, juvenile division, for consideration of charges. And I'm sure there's stacks of them that are up there right now. Now, I don't know these specific incidents that you're referring to, but they are if they're felonies and there's evidence to show that their felonies occurred. I know that our department has in the past and continues to try to hold these juveniles accountable by charging them and sending them up to the county attorney's office for consideration of prosecution. So thank you very much for coming in.
I mean, there was even a colored gentleman there at the October 9th one, and he was yelling that we were KKK, we were white supremacists and stuff. The police were standing right there next to him, and this guy works for St. Louis County. There was a school bus driver that stopped the bus, had the kids roll their windows down, and were yelling derogatory stuff out to the people. Again, it's a St. Louis County. We're paying them. These people should be fired. A school bus driver does not have the right to take people's kids and have them do stuff like that. And I do believe, if I remember right, the mayor said that he had the bus number and that it was a county bus. They need to find out who that bus driver is and get rid of him.
Yeah, that information has been disseminated and given to the police department as well. It was a bus that had school district number 2142 on it. That's the way it was reported. I saw it when I was there, frankly, at the rallies a couple rallies ago. So I think some information was going to be disseminated. I think some of the people from the group there was going to make an investigation regarding the school bus there. That's not a crime for them to do that. That's a school issue. And so I hope that, if there's a concern with respect to that, that someone that attended, organized those rallies, made some effort to contact the St. Louis County School to address that issue with them. Okay, thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else that'd like to come and speak before we move on to the next agenda item on the council? And so any comments from the council? Oh, yeah, one more, please. Sir, please state your name for the record and welcome to the council meeting.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Walls, and my wife and I are relatively new to the Iron Range. We're both born and raised in smaller towns, but lived in St. Paul for the last 25 years, and so we had intentions for about a year to move up here, but the timing of us getting up here in January was pretty significant. We don't live in St. Paul right now because we don't want to. We want to live in the kind of town that I think Virginia prides itself in being. But the kind of trouble that's coming into Virginia, it doesn't happen slowly. Like it'll happen overnight if we don't watch it. We have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant. So my wife and I and our family, we live just north of 8th Street over on 5th Avenue. And the closest park is that one on the south by the highway. I'm sorry to tell you, gentlemen, but we don't go there anymore. And these same kids that I could identify in a lineup, I already know them by face because they were at that rally that we went to. And we've seen them walking in front of our house, one time with a stolen stroller, 9 times out of 10 yelling profanities, walking in people's yards, including ours. I am fed up with it, a number of levels. We could talk about the rally, we could talk about my own property, we could talk about my kids not feeling safe going to a park that's meant for my kids and other community kids, not for the drug deals that are taking place down there. Where we lived in St. Paul, I've seen drug deals every day. I've called cops on them. I've had people evicted. I worked on a first-name basis with the police department down there. I plan to do the same up here. I will be the best neighbor that you've ever had, as long as people abide by the law. When you don't, you're not going to like me, and that's okay. But I want these kids to be held accountable. I'll keep pushing until it happens. We moved up here, we have 4 beautiful children, and we want this to end. So yes, from the standpoint of the rallies, defacing public property, defacing political signs, the yelling profanities, the drug deals, articles of clothing that don't just accidentally fall off one's body in the woods around that area. I mean, it's actually embarrassing. You know, I want my kids to grow up, and I understand that you can't control everything, but these kids feel that they have the run of the mill, and that is because there are no repercussions. I will speak frankly, I don't care about COVID at all, at all. Deputize me if there's a police force that's afraid of COVID, and I will go arrest them if you deputize me. I don't care about COVID. It doesn't stand in the way of me doing my job, and it shouldn't stand in the way of theirs. And we proudly have one of our signs in our yard, along with Trump and the others, is that we endorse the law enforcement. We back the blue, and we just want them to back us.
Thank you, sir. Just in answer to your question, I know that our Park and Rec Director has reported to the police and to the City Council that there's criminal damage and vandalism down in that Southside Park area. I do know the police department has taken action against juveniles. They have identified those juveniles, and they are charging those juveniles with various crimes related to that on the south side of Virginia, the Southside Park. But I know, we all know that it's continuing down there. But I do want to say that the police department has taken some action. They have identified juveniles there. They are pushing charges. And and just to clarify the comment about COVID, it's not that the police are afraid to respond because of COVID. They'll respond anywhere, anytime. Anybody needs help, regardless of the circumstances. That's their job. They've taken an oath, and they faithfully do that every day. The COVID comment is related to how the county attorney charges. There's nobody in the offices, and so it's a challenge to get these juveniles charged by long form through the county attorney's office because they're so backlogged with these charges. So I think that's where the comment COVID came in, but it has nothing to do with the police officer's ability or willingness to respond. Simply, thank you very much. Okay, anyone else like to come and speak? Well, we thank you very much for coming tonight, and I see the frustration, hear the frustration. We hear the frustration in what you're saying. We did have a town hall meeting a long time ago about crime in the community, and I agree maybe it's time that we sit down and direct our police chief and our new community relations officer, who's a police chief, Lieutenant Swenson, and to have some kind of a public meeting and discuss some of these issues and try to re-identify with the police department and the crimes in the areas that occurred. And we do know that we track where crime occurs in Virginia. And that whenever there's pockets of crime, it's identified. They try to concentrate their patrols in that area. But when you have 2 or 3 police officers working on duty at a time, it's difficult. But that's not an excuse. We are doing the best we can, but we need to do more to help address the issues that you have. Aside from the rally, I mean, that's a separate issue, but it's related to the juvenile activity in the area. So rest assured, we're continuing to move with that. But once again, we encourage you, if you have any other information, you have any videos related to the rally, please bring it to the police department. Please, if you have a statement that you feel that you have information, go to the police department, talk to the desk sergeant there or the officer there at the front. He used to be an officer, and give a statement to the police, because they will investigate any information that you have that's relative to the incident that's occurring. So, okay, before I move forward, is there anybody else that'd like to speak? Please come forward. Once again, Mr. Williams, you've already identified yourself. Thank you very much. And some closing comments.
At this point, I did want to bring up, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I understand there's a curfew in this town. I'm a self-employed contractor. There's days I don't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting in my living room eating a microwave meal that my wife left me in the refrigerator. And I've got 12 kids coming up 10th Street, raising hell. And I don't know why that curfew is not being enforced. But it's time we reinstitute it and start cracking down. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up before, but we have a law in the books, just like the law at the park. If you're not gonna enforce the law at the park with the sign, cut the sign down, quit wasting our money printing signs and having people put them up. There's 2 signs down there in that Veterans Park about riding bikes and skateboards. There's no sense in putting them up if we're not gonna enforce them. Thank you.
Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
can I speak to Mr. Williams?
Sure.
Mr. Williams, I have a comment from Mr. Barnzelli. Councilor Barnzelli.
Is this on 10th Street South?
No, the Veterans Park down on, where, I don't even know where it's at, down by the fire department, the Virginia Fire Department, where we held the rally. Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
North.
yeah, that way. That's where the signs are. I have pictures of them. I didn't get them here in time so you could post them on the screen. It says absolutely no bikes allowed at the Veterans Park. On one side of the sidewalk that walks into the Eagle, the other side says no skateboards, no bikes. Please respect the veterans.
I thought this was up on South Side, like 10th or 11th Street.
No, that was a different issue with this gentleman here. I live over there, I don't go to that park, there's too many needles and crap. My grandkids go down there with my wife, but we'll refuse to take them there, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Baraboo?
Thank you very much. I'm very glad that you folks came in to state your frustrations with what's going on. Rallies and stuff, I'm assuming that you got your permits like you're supposed to and did all that stuff. I assume that, and you notified the police department that this is going to happen. If you do that in the future, please make sure that they're well aware of the activity you're going to put on. You have every right to have a rally in this community and to have it safely. I've been approached for a number of people talking about issues similar to yours. I've told them all the same thing. You can't sit back and watch it. You gotta get involved and you gotta report it. If you don't do that, it's never gonna end. And the people are afraid to do it because then there's repercussions against them. And you have the right, you have private property. They cannot trespass on private property. I don't care where it is in the state of Minnesota. You have the right to defend your property. I am a very strong supporter of the Blues, all of them. We have not, and this council as a whole, has supported our police department. I think I can say that for every single one on this council. We are not going to reduce our police force like other communities are doing. In fact, we just added one, the community officer. So we've got your backs as far as the officers go, and the mayor is probably correct. We need to have, I've been around for a long time as a counselor. We probably need to have another community set up, and we can do that with the police department and with the city council and our administrator, and we can do this. I'd like to hear some more because I live down by Target and those areas down there, and you won't believe the kids that are down in that area. Too, that go racing through and coming down the side streets and doing all kinds of things. So as soon as you step outside though and they're there, and you know you mean business, they disappear. So that's just some advice from my personal perspective. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Councilor Baraboo. So before we move on to the next item on the agenda, I'll ask if Councilor Paulson has any comments. She's a city councilor that's participating in Zoom. So first, Councilor Paulson, any questions or comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I really want to thank everyone for coming forward and expressing the experiences that you've had here. And I would also echo Councilor Baraboo's just sentiment that, you know, we really do have a great and wonderful police force. And I'm sorry that you had that experience, and I'm sorry that there's a lot of personal issues that have transpired. We all have the right to feel safe, and I guess I can only say that I really appreciate you coming forward, and I think a town hall is probably it's very good timing to do that. Tensions are high during this political season, and I'm sure it took a lot of courage for all of you to come forward, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Paulson. Councillor Beyondich, who's also participating in Zoom. Councillor Beyondich, any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you. I would echo that. I thank all of you for coming forward. I guess I was not even aware that all of this took place. And before COVID, we did start having almost like monthly or every other month meetings with the public, so we could hear the feedback from our community. So unfortunately, with COVID, we have not been able to do that. So I do appreciate you coming forward and enlightening me. I was not aware that this even took place. And I thank you and applaud you for coming forward to speak to us about it and bringing it out into the open. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beyondich. Councillor Freely.
I too would like to thank you for coming forward. I was completely unaware of this kind of behavior being exhibited in this community by these children. And I grew up on 536 11th Street South from kindergarten through 6th grade, and the Southside Park was heaven to me. I spent my entire summer there running and jumping and playing all over the place, and so did my other 6 brothers and sisters. So it's sad to see what has happened to that neighborhood in some regards. But, you know, we too are supportive of you and your right of expression with regard to whatever political stance you take. And it's unfortunate that these kids don't understand the manner in which they can do the same in a reasonable, mature fashion. Ultimately, though, the behavior and the accountability of that behavior is in the home from which they come. And it's unfortunate that we don't have the opportunity to express that directly to the parents because we may not have that ability to connect with them in that fashion. But just from my standpoint as a city councilor, and to those parents, if you're aware of the circumstances that occurred, I hope that you do take the time to speak with your children and set them straight with regard to the expectations you should have of them when they're interacting with adults, regardless of the circumstances or the issues that are being raised within the community. So again, I know it's difficult to come forward publicly, but I appreciate you doing so and informing me of this kind of behavior.
Will you please come forward? And the reason I ask you to do so is so the public can hear what you have to say, and our city clerk can record your conversation. Welcome once again, Ms. Sari. Thank you.
I just wanted to add one part of you speaking on that the parents should play a part in this. The one thing with this particular instance that happened over at Parkview was the parents dropped the kids off there. The mothers dropped the 13-year-old, 16-year-old, they dropped them off there. They knew what was going on. That's child endangerment. They knew what they were putting their kids involved in. They're trying to get their kids to put their views out for everything. So that's all I wanted to add to that.
Okay, thank you. And I guess I'm going to make one. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to thank you all for coming in. As a counselor who's been on multiple ride-alongs with the police department, unfortunately, it's not as simple as the half-hour show is depicted to be. So I'd ask for your patience as the ongoing investigation continues. And unfortunately, you may never know what happens. That's just one of the hard facts of privacy laws. So again, thank you all for coming in, and just be cognizant that this stuff takes a long time, and it may not be solved in the manner you wish it to be. Thank you.
Okay, and we've had your comments, and it's comments for the other councilors, but I'm just going to make one brief comment. Everybody has a right to protest. Everybody has a right to speak their mind, whether you're a juvenile or an adult. But I personally witnessed some of the same things you did, and the behavior by those juveniles is, you can't justify it. It wasn't protesting. It wasn't peaceful protesting. It was intimidation, and it was trying to instill fear, particularly in those people who can't defend themselves, particularly those that were in wheelchairs. It was disgusting behavior, and that is not acceptable. It should be acceptable in any form. Expressing your peaceful protest is one thing, but that behavior by those juveniles is unacceptable. Unacceptable. So thanks very much for coming in. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, which is the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the items be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and corrections of the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on October 13th, 2020, and the special council meeting that was held October 19th, 2020. Item 5.2 is the adoption of finance resolution bills number 20-020, which is the scheduled bills. Item 5.3 is approve the travel request for Henry Trunk from the Police Department to attend the TASER instructor program December 2nd, 2020 in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota at a cost of $432, and that is a budgeted item. And then item 5.4, approve pay estimate number 2 for the Bailey's Lake Trail in the amount of $138,544.01 to George Bugalis and Sons. Those are the items on the consent agenda to be approved by the council. Item 5.1 through 5.4. I'm looking for council action.
Also move the consent agenda of all items.
Councilor Bearable moves to approve the consent agenda items. Is there support? Support by Councilor. Okay, support by, was that Councilor Councilor Beyondich?
Yes.
Thank you. Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, appearances. We have on Zoom, item 6.1, Rhonda Rudy Harvey from the Virginia Community Foundation regarding a request for the Festival of Trees that's going to be held on November 18th through the 21st of this year. I'm glad that we're doing it once again this year. It's a very exciting celebration, and we welcome you to the City Council meeting, Rudy.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? I'm not even sure. I'm sitting here. I'm going, I don't know if I'm still hooked up.
Yes, clearly.
We can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. I did send a letter, and I think that you all received it. The committee has been kind of struggling with what can we do, what can't we do. We did want to have something for Festival of Trees, so we are planning kind of a COVID-friendly Festival of Trees, November 18th through the 21st, which it will have business after hours at the Elks like regular. We are trying to plan, or we are in the process of planning a virtual silent auction, which will open November 14th through November 21st. And those items will be located on the computer where people can go and bid. They will be located in, some of them will be located in our office at the foundation at 303 Chestnut for people to actually come in and see. But the reason that I'm writing is we're trying to think of some events that we can do. And in the past, the foundation had Bingo Bling at the Elks, and we had the Festival of Trees Tour of Homes, which those aren't COVID friendly. So we tried to think outside of the box and try to do something at the park with outside. So what you've received is my attempt at planning an event outside. Originally, Mike Shogard, I think that's his name, I'm not sure how to say it. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm apologizing, had contacted Britt about offering a tree. He actually called many different cities and offered them on his property these large trees for tree lightings if communities were going to look at doing them. There's no cost for the tree, but we do have to go and get this tree, which is anywhere from 15 to 25 feet high. We can pick whichever we want. But that's where I'm asking for some assistance for the tree from the city if they could use a cherry picker. I'm not even sure what that is, to go and get the tree and bring it back to the fountain base. I have contacted TriTech and I am waiting to get back word from them on a base. The city did build me a base for a previous Festival of Trees tree lighting, so I did put that request in there. We would be selling memorial bags kind of similar to the Sand Lake Shuffle, where people could take the bag, buy the bags from us, and they could decorate them, and we would put them on the deck of the fountain. And we would light those up with a battery-operated candle, so there would be no fire damage or fire worry there. But I guess I'm first asking for permission to do the event on that Saturday, the 21st. And at 5 o'clock, we would like to do the lighting and then lead up to the fireworks that are set at 5:45. And then my volunteers would handle taking care of the bags and different things like that. If that tree is an issue, I will gladly look for a much smaller tree and a different decision, but I guess I would like to ask for permission to put a tree or the tree or this tree, just so I can move forward with the event.
Okay, Rudy, under item 6.1 and in our packet, we have the letter of request, and it's under 6.1A is first the request to use the Alcott Park Fountain Deck area for the Community Foundation Christmas tree and event. Item 6.1B to allow the placement and the display of a battery-operated luminaries at the fountain. And 6.1C authorize city crews to collect a tree from a donor, create a standard base for the tree, and use city equipment to place the tree and use the equipment to assist in decorating. And is that the gist of your request?
Yes, it is. And, please know that this was just trying to get something on board for this first year. I know that we could do better next year. Maybe the grant could be given for a artificial tree and a permanent spot. Like I said in the request, people have talked about the old tree at Mindview in the Sky and would like to see some sort of a tree that they could drive by or look at or something. And I'm hoping that we could do some sort of an annual thing with this. But this is just kind of the first year, and we're just trying to do it with the limited time we have.
Okay, and thank you very much. And I think that as we move through for this approval process under item 6.1A, B, and C, we can share, I can share, we all have some information I can share about a festival that's going on down in the metro area, of which I am a part of, and my family is, that's similar to what you're trying to do, and it's a very exciting opportunity for some expanded things for the kids and family that's COVID friendly. So we'll move to the city council first. Rudy, Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. You've talked about a tree and a donor. Where is this tree?
The donor is actually from Nashwauk. He said he's about 22 miles exactly from Virginia. And it is a piece of property that he has, that he's allowing cities to come and get these trees because of the size, being larger and more visible.
I guess that would be my want for more information is what is it going to cost the city? Do we have the equipment to haul a 15 to 20 foot, 25 foot tree? That kind of stuff. So I guess I would rely on the staff to figure that out. And then the other thing is that this is the first I'm hearing of fireworks. Do we need to authorize that how does that process work, Brett?
You authorized that in the budget last year?
For the
blue fireworks displays in 2020.
We were very smart last year,
We were
weren't
very
we?
smart last year.
I just didn't remember.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
We had a discussion on it, actually.
Yep.
If you recall.
That it would be nice to have it earlier because then kids can see it and not be tight. Yeah, I remember now. And I'm not.
You're not 68 years old, right?
And then the help putting it up, what does that mean, Rudy, when you need assistance putting it up, or decorating it?
Well, the thing is with the size of it, the height of it, I don't know any volunteer. I don't know that a ladder would be sufficient for volunteers to decorate.
So we would need to
So
utilize the bucket truck, and I'm guessing
Yep.
the foundation is providing the lights and that kind of, and the star or whatever else
yes,
it is.
that's
Okay.
we would be providing the lights. But like I said, I am open to, if this is too much and too little and too short of a time with this large tree, trying to do a much smaller version, maybe a 9-foot, but I still would need the help of the city with a base, like they did for the tree that we had in the old foundation office lot there, the city lot that we kind of, it was between the senior center and the Virginia Foundation. They built me just kind of something to keep a tree that size, or a base of some sort to hold a tree.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I just had those 3 questions down for the details to make sure that it is doable and we don't need a special permit to cross county lines or things like that, so.
Well, we do have a Lowboy trailer that we
Okay.
can go out there and pick up a tree. It would just realize staff will be driving city vehicles out to Nashwauk to pick up a tree.
This is a full day project for at least 2 staff,
At least, yes.
if not more. I'm getting a higher number from Brian, so, okay, thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you. And I'll just say that if we have a motion here moving forward to allow city staff to move forward with working with the Virginia Foundation and trying to accommodate the request for this big celebration for the Festival of Trees, and if we are unable to do so, contact me. I'll make sure that some of the costs are covered associated with the transport of the tree, if that's not amenable. But from what I hear from the council discussion, that we likely will be moving forward. So before we move forward with a motion, I'd like to ask Councilor Paulson if she has any questions or comments.
I don't. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Beyondich?
I do not, and I will recuse myself from voting on this issue. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Maya. Councilor Beyondich. So I'm looking for a council action on the request from the Virginia Foundation, item A, B, and C, and including of course, we have the fireworks already approved. So looking for council action.
I would go ahead and make a motion to move forward with the request that Rudy Harvey has brought forth, utilizing whatever resources the city is able to avail to allow this to occur. And if not, to allow her to continue on with all of the things that she's able to accomplish, should the city not be able to fulfill her request.
Okay. Motion by Councilor Freelieb. Is there support? Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bearable.
I'm just going to ask Brian, I believe, Brian, you can do this through the Park and Rec Department, correct?
It will end up being a joint effort between Public Works and Parks and Recreation to accomplish this.
Okay, but you can accomplish it.
Yes,
Okay.
should be able to.
Britt, do you want separate motions, or can we take all 3 at once? Okay.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor in support to move forward with city staff to coordinate with the Virginia Foundation the requests that were laid out in her letter. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, I'd like to ask Rudy a question.
Councilor Barnzelli has a question for you, Rudy. Councilor Barnzelli.
Sure.
Rudy, If you could drive your car, I would ride with you and we could get a 9-foot tree, put it on the roof of your car. It would easily fit on the roof. Out the front and the back, we ain't,
But I am taking you up on that.
Hey, we're going big or going home, so we're going to go big.
yeah.
There will be a tree, no matter if it's a 3-foot Charlie Brown. I don't care.
Okay, we can get a Charlie Brown. I'll get a hold of you.
We've already approved to move forward with the big tree.
Yes.
You want a smaller tree?
Well, 9 feet was the smallest, wasn't it, that she wanted?
No.
9-footer, 22-foot, I don't know, how would we, helicopter have to pull it over here?
No, we just discussed having a low boy going over to Nashwauk to bring that tree.
We'll send the trailer over.
We'll take care of that.
Perfect. Thank you.
We have some Class A license holders that can go pick it up, so it'll be a joint effort between Public Works and Park and Rec.
Thank you, Councilor Barnzelli. Okay, it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much. Thank you. And you can start buying your luminaries tomorrow.
I'll be in your office. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Rudy.
Yahoo! Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 7 on the agenda, which is unfinished business. We have one item under unfinished business. It's item 7.1 is the adopt the resolution approving the transfer of city property to the First Apostolic Lutheran Congregation. This is for their parking lot up in Midway. This is the second reading. This will be the final approval if approved by the council. This is under item 7.1. And once again, this is that parking lot about approximately 1 acre up in Midway at the old Midway School site. Second reading. Looking for council
Also
action.
move.
Moved by Councilor Paulson to approve. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. One recusal. Okay. Item number 8, discussion items. Item 8.1, accept the resignation of Dana Mitchell from the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. She's resigning because she's moving out of the area, and this will be a mayoral appointment at some future time, but we'll seek input from the council and from the HR director as to how we move forward with some applicants who might be interested in serving. So accept the resignation of Dana Mitchell from the Housing Redevelopment Authority.
Also moved, Mayor.
Moved by Councilor Baraboo and supported by Councilor Friedlieb. Any further discussion? As always, thank you for your service on the commission. Please will send her a letter, a nice card, and wish her all the very best. And thank you for serving in that capacity. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Adopt a resolution for the election for CARES Act block grant. Britt, do you want to give any additional information for the public's edification?
I'm going to defer to City Clerk Pam Levine.
Okay, Pam, would you please give us a little bit of information for the general public's concern, comments?
Can you hear me?
Not really.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So the state has some extra COVID funding that is available for elections. And so they went through a process to determine what each city would be getting under the 2020 CARES Act grant. And so the city of Virginia is eligible for $4,679. And there is grant paperwork to execute the process once the resolution is approved.
Okay, looking for a motion.
That can be used towards anything, or extra expenses that we've incurred through COVID or anything that has to do with elections.
Okay, and that'll be at the discretion of our city staff under the emergency order? Okay, thank you.
I'll move the resolution.
Councilor Johnson moves the resolution to adopt the resolution to approve CARES Act block grant funding application in the amount of $4,679 from the state of Minnesota's CARES Act fund. Is there support?
I'll support.
A support by Councilor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.3, adopt a resolution authorizing the investment of sewer and/or garbage fund revenues collected into the OPEB, which is other post employee benefits plan trust fund, right? And Sherry, our finance director, could you give a little bit more information for the public what this means?
Sure, as the resolution states, this is requesting, like in the past, 3% of the revenues collected off of the sewer and/or garbage to help offset our OPEB liability. And currently, it is over $2 million right now, our investment. So we started out with about 400,000, and in 10 years, we've done pretty good.
And this is to cover the cost of the post-health care benefits that we paid, our employees are entitled to, which at sunsetted, what it was in 2002?
I think the last one was 2006.
2006. So those who retired prior to 2006, this is what is to pay, help offset the cost of
It is a liability on the books.
It's a liability on the
Those
books.
that were hired prior to 2006. Anybody hired after 2006 does not get this benefit.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Britt. So we have information looking for council action.
So moved.
Councilor Freely moves. Is there support?
I'll support for discussion, Mayor.
Okay, support by Councilor Bearable to adopt a resolution authorizing the investment of 3% of the sewer and garbage fund revenues collected to go into the OPEB account trust fund. Councilor Bearable, further discussion.
Yeah, this particular liability that the city has is kind of like, you want to call it a bell curve. We've kind of reached the top now, and we'll start coming down the other side with the monies collected on this, and eventually we'll be able to pay off this liability. But it also helps us with our bonding and stuff with Moody's or S&P for getting our rates a little bit lower if we can lower this liability to the city. So that's one of the most important reasons why we're doing this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Bearable. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Item 8.4 is adopt a resolution approving the final pay estimate number 4 to the for the public library in the 418 Chestnut Street Pocket Park. This is the final payment in the amount of $11,618.80, which will close out this project. Looking for council action.
I'll make a motion for discussion if I
Also
could.
moved.
A move by Councilor Paulson, supported by Councilor Freely, to adopt a resolution for final pay estimate number 4 for the public library in 418 Chestnut Street Pocket Park. Final pay estimate, closing out this contract in the amount of $11,618.80. Further discussion, Councilor Freely.
Just real quickly, I need clarification with regard to which contractor we're paying. Is it Lency, Bugal? Who was it?
I believe it's Bugalis and Sons, isn't it? Or Max Gray? I'm sorry, Max Gray. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Max Gray Construction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Here's some discussion items we would like to see. Item 8.5, adopt a resolution accepting a donation for the Virginia Golf Course.
I'll move for further discussion.
Moved by Councilor Freely, but is there support? Support by Councilor Bonzelli. Support by Councilor Beyondich. Any further discussion? Councilor Freely was looking for some clarification on the, go Go ahead, Counselor Freely.
Well, I thought I read that the initial donation was intended for the Virginia Police Department, and then we, as a city, determined that we can take the money and put it to where we best think it's needed, or is that, am I mistaken with regard to that?
Well, we have several resolutions that we're adopting. One of them is to adopt a resolution that was for one of the donations to go to shop for a cop. That's coming up.
Okay, I thought, okay.
So the golf course donation, could you give us a clarification on that?
You've got this numbered wrong then. And 8.5 is the police one.
I believe I just had an error in the resolution under the first whereas should not be police department. I can take that out.
Okay, the resolution is incorrect. The resolution has to say golf course and not police department under 8.5 to make that amendment to the resolution to match the council agenda. Is that correct, Pam?
Yes, it is, Mayor. Thank you.
So was this in memoriam to the Garneys?
Yes,
And that was intended for the police
for the
department?
golf course,
For the golf course?
for the golf course.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, thank you. So the motion is to adopt a resolution accepting a donation for the Virginia Golf Course. Although the resolution does say Police Department, Pam, our city clerk, is going to make that correction in the formal resolution to change it from Police Department to Golf Course. Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And then the city staff determine what it's used for at the golf course, or what's next?
This is for the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like
maintenance.
Brian gets to
Yeah.
decide if it's going to greens or posts or trash cans. I mean, is that, okay, I just want to make sure if there's caveats to the donations that we're clear on that.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
wasn't project specific in the donation, was that correct? Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.6, adopt a resolution accepting a donation for the light pole banners. And
This one also in the second paragraph is incorrect. If you go down to the fourth paragraph, it does say it's for donations for light pole banners for the city of Virginia.
so this resolution has to be amended as well?
Yes.
Okay, so item number 8.6, the resolution needs to be amended to reflect the donation for light pole banners. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Pam, you'll make that
I'll
change?
move the amended resolution.
Counselor Paulson moves the amended resolution. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Counselor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 8.7, please check the resolution and make sure that is correct. Thank you. Item 8.7.
9 is going to be wrong.
Here we go. Item 8.7, adopt a resolution accepting a donation for Shop with a Cop. Do I have a motion? Moved
I'll
by
make that motion.
Who's that? A motion by Counselor Beyondich and supported by Counselor Johnson. Is that fine? Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And item 8.8, adopt a resolution accepting a donation for the police and fire departments. Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor? Support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. In item 8.9,
To be corrected.
it needs to be
Does not
correct.
need to be corrected.
Okay, so item 8.9, the resolution needs to be amended to show that this is a resolution accepting a donation for the Tennis for All building. Looking for council action to
I will
move the amendment.
move the amended.
Counselor Johnson moves to approve the amended motion for the Tennis for All building.
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Paulson. Is there any?
Paulson.
Thank you, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 9, committee reports. The committee of the whole meeting under 9.1 that was held on October 29th, 2020. We will turn this portion of the city council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. At the Committee of the Whole meeting on October 20th at 9 a.m., Mr. Greg French, the General Manager of the Public Utilities, gave an update on the recent power outages. It's a very good update, and we're very appreciative that he came to the meeting, and they did report that they are working on a social media page, which I'm happy to announce should be live tomorrow morning.
Way to go.
Yeah. Council further reviewed the Mesabi Humane Society contract for 2021 through 2023. It was moved and supported to allow staff to meet with the Humane Society and discuss the verbiage in the contract and then bring back before the council for further approval.
Thank you.
No action needed at this moment. Staff has been in contact with the Humane Society. We'll bring back something to the next Committee of the Whole. We had discussion regarding the liquor licenses for 2020 or 2021 due to the 2020 COVID pandemic causing these liquor stores to be closed. It was moved and supported to allow staff to review the liquor license fees for a possible reduction in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. And no actions necessarily needed. We'll come back to the Committee of the Whole meeting with a plan.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Matt Reed, our from SCH, our engineer of record, discussed the recommendation for sewer televising for our 2021 street improvement project. It was noted that a few of our sanitary lines are older, and it's essential to televise them first before this project begins, so we know what condition they are before we start construction. It was moved and supported to approve the sewer televising quote from Rapid Rooter in the amount of $60,415 for the large storm sewer mains in the project area of the 2021 street improvement project.
I will move for discussion.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor Was that Counselor?
Paulson.
Counselor Paulson, okay. To adopt the resolution to approve the sewer televising quote from Rapid Rooter in the amount of $60,415 for the large storm sewer mains in the project areas of the 2021 street improvement project. Further discussion, Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm going to clarify here too, that doesn't mean it's going to be on public access. It means they bring in a big van with a camera and it shows us what's wrong and what's right and what needs to be cleaned out.
And they also clean it, so it's
Yeah,
also being cleaned.
so
It's not.
It's a 2-for-1 deal
Yeah,
here.
and it's
so-
not good footage.
Yeah,
We don't
so,
wanna look
so
at
don't
it.
look for this on the news at 10 o'clock. It's called sewer televising because our staff are viewing and making notes to make our jobs easier in the future.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Brian Silber, Park and Recreation Director, gave an update regarding the request to purchase bleachers for the youth baseball field, or ball fields, I should say. It was moved and supported to approve the purchase of 4 sets of bleachers from BSN Sports in the amount of $12,599.96 using the CARES Act funding.
Also move.
And support.
Moved by Counselor Paulson and supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the hiring of figure skating program part-time temporary employees for the 2020-2021 season,
Thank you.
starting soon.
We'll move those hires.
A motion to move to support the hiring of the temporaries for the skating program by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
All support, Mayor.
Support by Counselor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Staff had brought forth the draft policy for lighting requests for the cupola at City Hall. We have a fantastic new lighting system up there, and we can do a multitude of colors. It was moved and supported to approve the City of Virginia City Hall cupola lighting policy with the standard color set at white.
Very good.
I will move that.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the policy. Is there support?
All support.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Right now, it's set to pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Night. And then if I programmed it right, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night should be a Halloween show, something a little bit different. So, and that policy allows for nonprofits to request color changes in programming as we move forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Fire Chief Alan Lewis gave an update on the draft license agreement between the Virginia Fire Department and RGGS. It was moved and supported to approve that access use license agreement to allow our staff to access RGGS property near the bridge.
Very good.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Johnson, supported by Councilor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Silber again gave an update on the logo for the MEC. It was moved and supported to ask the design team to meet and review the name and logo for the MEC. At this time, I'd like to defer to Brian Silber. I did not make it to the design team meeting. I was ill that day, so I do not have.
Thank you, Britt, our Park and Rec Director, Brian Silber. Good evening, Brian. Welcome.
Good evening, council. First of all, would like to let you know that we are not seeking approval of a logo. We are seeking approval of an image to be used in the marketing of the building. That would be in your packet. It is the, again, redesigned M, utilizing the MEC insignia and Miners Event and Convention Center. In your packet, you will see it says Virginia underneath of that. We are not including the Virginia in that. The Virginia is simply the same font that is used in the City of Virginia's logo. And so this is showing, or that is showing that the same font style is being used in our name and current image that we are using. What our design team would like to do for an official logo is we would like to get the community a little bit more involved, since we do have a great community with lots of great artistic abilities, and we want to tap into our community's creative juices and get those flowing to come up with a design. So our design team would like to open it up to the community to allow them to submit some designs to us. We will then either narrow down the designs and put it out to a community vote or select one of those designs. So we're going to come up with some parameters for this competition to put out to the public to start getting an official logo to be designed.
Very good. Thank you, Brian, very much.
I will move acceptance of the image provided for current marketing.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the image recommended moving forward for the MEC Event and Convention Center with, just for that. Is there support? Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion?
I do have a comment, please.
Yes, Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Brian and allowing us to have this extra meeting to work with the group and be cohesive on what our thoughts were on this. I felt that we met and everybody walked away from that meeting feeling good about the choices that were made and being able to involve the community with part of the logo design as they are the citizens and the people that will be using the facility. So I thought it was a very worthwhile meeting, and I think everything worked out really well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Beyondich.
Just in full transparency, in our design group, we did not have 100% unanimous support for either the image or the name. There are some that, or there's one who would like to see us reconsider the name. That would involve quite an extensive legal procedure that for us to undertake. But it is also something that we may need to do or want to do once we do have the naming rights to the building secured.
Thank you, and I think that was the plan all along.
Yes.
Very good, thank you. Okay, it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We did have discussion regarding our 2021 legislative priorities. It was a great discussion. It was a very good discussion. We'll continue to work on those. It was, the meeting was closed to discuss some real estate negotiations. After we came out of a closed meeting, it was moved and supported to allow Essentia Health to proceed with the additional environmental testing that is required at 901 9th Street North, with the understanding that the buyer, which is Essentia Health, is covering all the cost.
Very good, at their expense.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Additional discussion was had regarding our money that we received from the state bonding bill for our public safety center. It was moved and supported to direct staff to proceed with the acquisition of property located from 8th Street South to 10th Street South, from 2nd Avenue West to 1st Avenue West for the Public Safety Center, contingent upon the state approval of the state bonding funds by Governor Walz, and I'm happy to report he has signed the bill.
Yes.
I have not got the grant agreement yet, but he has signed the bill.
As he promised to do,
As he
and
promised.
and he lived up to his promise, which we're very grateful for. Thank you.
I will move the direction of city staff to continue to work on acquisition of the property as defined.
Okay, moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
All support, Mayor.
Support by Counselor Bearable to direct city staff to proceed with the acquisition of property for the Public Safety Center. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one question.
Yes, Counselor Bearable.
Britt, as you go along with this from the staff, will you give us progressive updates on the computer or somehow to where you are and how this is going and what we need to do and all the legal stuff?
Absolutely.
Just so we can look at it.
Absolutely.
I know it's going to be a step-by-step process, but you can just give us the stuff step by step.
We've just had a preliminary meeting with our attorney and Chief Lewis last week, Friday, our bond counsel, and on the necessary financing steps for the remainder of the money we need also.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Freely.
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, this is really quite an assertive kind of a proposition, to say the least. And I guess I would suspect that consultation with other communities who may have done similar types of projects would be advisable for us to do, and I hope that's going to be included. All right, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, thank you, Counselor Freely. Any further discussion? Counselor Baraboo.
just one thing we can't forget, we do have some CDGB funds involved with 9th Street, or 10th Street, that would go along with the same projects. We want to do these in combination, I believe, correct, Brett?
Yeah, we'll be coming to the next committee of the whole with some action items for that 10th Street project also.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
And our final discussion item at that meeting was we discussed their City Hall garage that we're still working on with the fire. We still are not able to renovate the garage completely, however, we did have a motion to approve city staff exploring the enlarging the City Hall Police Department garage at least to the same size as the building.
Very good.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by...
Support.
Support by Counselor Barnzelli. I guess you two of you together at one time, so we'll split the difference. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I have no further items from that meeting.
Thank you. We'll move to item 9.2 on the agenda, which is the Street and Alley Committee meeting that was held on October 19th, 2020. The Street and Alley Committee met at this point in time to discuss street and alley projects, and I'll turn this part of the committee report over to the committee chair, Councilor Bearable. Councilor Bearable.
Thank you. We had a discussion about the 3rd Street South project that goes from, it's going to go from 6th Avenue all the way to 9th Avenue. And what we've discussed was the fact that we want to take from 8th Street to 9th Avenue, we want to, or 8th Avenue to 9th Avenue, we want to take and widen that street to 44 feet with sidewalks on both sides. Reason being, if we go to 44 feet, we can allow parking along the curbs for all the activities at the baseball field and a small park that's there. It's very congested when you try to drive down that, and it'll match up the other part that goes to 6th Avenue, with the 44-foot width. So that was our recommendation, that we design of 3rd Street South from 8th to 9th Avenues west to widen to 44 feet with no boulevard and sidewalk to be curb line in order to provide additional parking along the street. In other words, we're going to have a solid sidewalk to the curb and no boulevards anymore on that street to take care of. We'll do it like we have 9th Avenue and the rest.
Mayor.
Councilor Freely.
Just out of curiosity, was that going to be requiring a removal of a lot of those trees or any trees? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be. And we did have that discussion. Those trees have reached their maximum limit of life, basically. Brian has had them looked at, and those trees will be removed. Not all of them, but enough far enough back so they won't interfere with the root systems from the new sidewalks.
Will there be able to be some replanting of new trees then along the sidewalk to continue to provide?
Yeah, that's part of the plan.
Okay.
Yes, we will replant trees along the sidewalk. In addition, I'm asking that we make the internal commitment to ourselves for every one hardwood that we remove in that area, that we purchase and plant 3 new hardwoods. Not necessarily in that location, but somewhere in town.
And it's actually going to create then a parking area along the curb.
You won't have a parking area. You'll have enough to
Just have
park.
more room.
Yeah, well, you can't, legally, you're not supposed to park on both sides of the width of that street, but they'll be all annotated. It'll be parallel parking, I believe. We talked about diagonal, but then you can't see when cars are coming. So it'll be additional parallel parking, and it'll be wider. So vehicles can come down both sides at the same time. Right now, you got to wait. So that's why we're going to widen it.
There'll be no detrimental effect to the field itself. I know it's an unfenced outfield, but you won't shorten the outfield significantly, or?
No.
No, it will not have any impact to the playability of that ball field.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll move that we authorize this change.
Okay, moved by Councilor Bearable, the chair of the Street and Alley Committee, to authorize the design of 3rd Street South from 8th to 9th Street Avenue West with those recommended changes, supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Bearable?
Yeah, we did have a discussion about a flashing solar-powered sign on, I believe it was 11th Street South, wasn't that right, Steve? Okay. Now, I don't think we came away with a recommendation, did we, on that? Because I don't see anything in the minutes on that.
Well, Bill Hennis was going to do some research, and Pam, remind me what he wrote back to us on this one.
On the LED for the 11th Street South and 2nd Avenue crosswalks, he noted there is nothing in the state guidelines for placement of only one LED pedestrian sign, being they are not required. He recommends if the council would like to, the LED signs, that they be, both of them be installed as such.
Okay, we can probably make a recommendation. It's too late this year to probably get them up, or we have to amend our budget somehow to do it, because unless Sherry has some contingency fund. Would you rather be on the agenda for next year for the,
How much is it again?
they're,
1,000?
no, they're
Three.
2,100 apiece.
We got money in the contingency. I think it's a safety issue.
Okay,
The poles are already in place, Charlie, so they would just need to add these. They're solar powered ones, so they just need
Okay.
to add them onto those poles. So we could purchase them this year.
okay, that's all, that's where our discussion didn't finish. Steve, do you want to make that motion?
I will make a motion that we install the pair on the 11th Street and 2nd Avenue crosswalk.
And I will,
I would support that.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Paulson regarding the addition of that, those lights. The poles are already there at that intersection to be purchased this year, $2,100 for each light pole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item we discussed was handicap parking on 126 and 128 South Fifth Street. After looking at this and looking at the maps, the committee decided that because of the handicap not doing a lot of good in the winter months at all, because you got to switch sides anyway, we can't, it doesn't do any advantage. So we are going to deny the request for the 2 handicap parking spots.
Is that your motion, Counselor Bearable?
That's my motion.
Counselor Bearable makes a motion to deny the request for the 2 handicap parking spots at 126 and 128 Fifth Street South. Is there support?
Support for short discussion.
Support by Counselor Johnson for further discussion. Further discussion, Counselor Johnson.
And will that include a letter explaining our decision?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Britt?
No further items.
Thank you. Move to item 10 on the agenda, which is the Commission Liaison and Department Head Reports. First, we'll go to the City Council, or let's go to the department heads first. Any further things from you, Britt, Brian, Sherry? Okay, thank you. We'll move to the City Council. Any City Councilor has a report that they'd like to provide this evening. First of all, Councilor Beyondich, you have a report to give?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Paulson?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Bearable?
Yes, I do. From the Public Utilities Strategic Planning and Commission meeting on Monday. They had a strategic planning meeting at 2:30 and then their regular meeting at 3:30. The strategic planning was just basically talking about the rest of the conversion area in Southside. Originally, there were 749 customers that needed to convert in the area. They had a lot of discussion of what they were going to do, if they're going to continue going past the 31st of October date. The consensus was that they're going to not change their motions back a month ago when they said they were going to leave it at the 31st, other than it'll end up on the 2nd of November because it falls on a weekend, that date. And the crews can't get out to turn off the steam lines in that area. Reason being, if they authorize and do stuff and people start using, because their stuff isn't converted, and they start using home heating devices and other types of things that could be a detriment to their property if they start a fire, the utilities would then become liable for some of that if they don't continue their plan to shut it off on time. So they're going to leave it up to the residents and the individuals that are doing the construction work. There is a total list of properties with names and addresses that the utilities have. I cannot provide that to you because of privacy laws with names attached to addresses. So you're welcome to go down and talk to Mr. Hofdahl or to Mr. French, and you can take a look at that whole list if you want to of everybody that's in that area. And it breaks it down into how many are left. There's approximately 29 left that they're not sure what they're going to be doing with their properties. They haven't done a lot. So I can tell you that much, but go down there if you want to see the whole list. They've got it broken down, and they've got columns of where, by color, where these individuals sit, and including the people that are winterizing and are going to take it up next summer. So I can tell you that much. Then at the regular meeting, they gave a summary report on injuries. There were no injuries. They gave a power outage report, which most of you have probably already seen. But this last one where the individual took down the power pole with hitting it, he wasn't doing like everybody thought, loops to loops to loops. He was going 60 miles an hour and hit that pole and took it down. There was 3 major transformers on that pole. So that's why all the city went out for as long as it did. And then after he did that, he took off, so the police had to catch up, and he damaged the garage. So the insurance company's been notified because they got the insurance carrier, the utilities did from the police department report, and they're going after the insurance company for the money and the repairs on that. So that's where we stand on that. They still plan on doing extensive testing of all the equipment, including Minnesota Power side. Minnesota Power, we're doing that with Ridgewood. When that pole was hit, Ridgewood substation got damaged when that power pole, because there was a surge that went down and they lost some relays and some breakers. So they had to replace those. That's why some of the area took longer to get on. It's just one of those things. We hadn't had basically a major shutdown of our electricity, believe it or not, in Virginia since 2006. That's a long time where we hadn't had a big outage like we've had it in these last month and some weeks. So they just wanted the public to know that. They're now operating, starting right now, they're operating the wood boiler, number 11. And they've put into service the number 5 turbine generator that can generate 5 megawatts of electricity for redundancy if anything else goes wrong with these repairs they're going to be doing. So far, everything looks good. All the gas lines are in place on the south side conversions. They're all up to the homes, so that has been taken care of. All the fire hydrants in the city have been winterized, so they put antifreeze in them so that if the fire department needs to use them, they're readily available. And they had a little discussion about the solar project that we were going to put up on Honda Hills. It's now maybe going to be put over by Mountain Iron, but they're working with Minnesota Power to try to get a partnership. So that's my report. Anybody have any questions?
Before we go to Councilor Johnson has something else, but I just want to comment. I don't have a question. And I know that the citizens have had an opportunity to convert. They've been getting fair notice about that. But still, you know, it's a difficult time. People's sometimes don't have the funding mechanisms which to do that. And I just think it's unfortunate that the way the schedule went, that they're cutting steam off right in the beginning of the wintertime. That's really tough for those people, and I hope that we find ways in which to help them. I'm not, I'm not criticizing anybody for this because, that's the way the schedule was. I just think it's unfortunate that those who haven't been able to convert, whether they refuse to convert or whether they don't have the funds to do so, they have to find an alternative way of heating their homes over the course of a cold winter. or sometime during the winter where they're going to try to get some conversion. So that's a concern to me. I hope that people are able to make the adjustment and find ways in which to keep themselves warm during this winter months.
Let me qualify what I said. The list includes comments from all the contractors are listed in the homes they're working on right now. And there's a comment section that they're telling them it might be up until, not even the middle of November, they might be completed. So they've got a schedule there, and they tell you why and the reasons why they can't get there. And a lot of the contractors said they will provide alternative heat sources for the individuals while they're finishing up. So I forgot to state that there is a statement of what these contractors are going to be doing with the ones that still haven't converted.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Bearable. Before we go to Councilor Johnson, any comments, Councilor Paulson?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Beyondich?
I'm good as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind folks that voting is a week away. You can still vote early at City Hall, 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. You can come in the side door right up to the information window, and staff here will help you get voted. Otherwise, you can vote on Tuesday. For some folks in Virginia, it's at the Miners. Are we doing curbside this year as well? Or I guess that's a question for Pam.
If somebody needs curbside assistance, they do have the forms for that, but we will not have a specific line for cars as due to the construction, there isn't room for parking. And my lack of election judges, it's going to be hard to have people out there doing that continually during the day.
So folks should
So the
call
best option is
ahead.
to vote early. And we will be open Saturday from 10 to 3 for absentee voting.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Pam. And I encourage folks to get out and vote. It's how you make your voice heard. It's how we take our direction in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Okay, any other committee or liaison reports from the council? Nothing from...
Mayor, this is Councilor Paulson.
Councilor Paulson, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We received an email probably a couple days ago regarding a committee of the whole meeting scheduled for that day. And I just wanted to confirm and make sure that we are not having a committee of the whole meeting on Tuesday, Election Day.
We can have a meeting, Councilor Paulson, we just can't meet after 6 p.m.
Okay, so will there be a committee of the whole meeting scheduled for the morning of Tuesday, November 3rd?
Yes.
Yes, it is on the docket right now.
Okay.
Anything else, Councilor Paulson?
No, I might not be able to make that meeting.
Oh, okay. Just let us know, and we'll make sure you get all the information necessary as that meeting moves forward.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, any more discussion, comments, questions become for the council? Seeing none, as Councilor Johnson says, get out and vote. Your vote matters. So we will adjourn to the next city council meeting, which is scheduled for October 20th, Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. here in the city council chambers. Everybody have a great week. What did I say? Okay, I apologize for that. I think, when is that, Pam? Because I'm just reading off the agenda without thinking. It says we're going to adjourn to Tuesday, October 20th. We already had that meeting. So it's November the 10th. Okay, thank you very much. So I apologize to the general public. Thank you for the clarification. We will adjourn to our next city council meeting will be Tuesday, November 10th at 5:30 p.m. here in the city council chambers. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe week. We stand adjourned.